Three, two, one. Welcome to the David the Dog Trainer podcast, episode 231. All right, we got an interesting episode for you guys today. So, I got all sorts of shit to talk about per usual, but I figured I could kind of hone in on one specific thing with this episode, and it's sparked by a law that's kind of taking place here coming March 18th in Ohio. Have you heard of the Avery's Law? Are you hip to this?
I have not.
All right. So this has been something they've been trying to pass for a little while now. And
wait 1 second before you get into it.
Yeah.
Behind you.
Getting the little light going.
Yeah, you got to turn the light on, man. I just noticed that.
Boom. Look at
There
that.
we go.
Now we're fucking good.
There we go.
Now we're good.
Okay, sorry. Avery's Law.
Okay, so I wasn't super hip to all of this until like a couple days ago, honestly.
Yeah.
But it has some big. So this is an Ohio law bill, whatever you want to call it, that becomes effective March 18th. So coming up
So
here
it's
in
passed.
just a couple of weeks, it's passed.
Okay.
And basically what it is a bill where they reshaped how the state of Ohio handles like dangerous dogs as a whole, right? And this is something that impacts dog owners. This is something that impacts dog professionals, whether you're in the boarding space, whether you're in the training space, if you're just working with dogs in general. This is something that I think that we are going to continue seeing more and more pop up of as we progress through the next couple of years, like across the country. And that's just cities and states and counties are just fucking cracking down on dangerous dogs, right? So what I want to do is I want to read this post that I'm going to give full shout out here. Pause to Pose Photography, which is a dog photography company in Ohio. They put together this post that I had seen a couple of days ago that just so clearly, because you know when you're trying to fucking read a bill and it's just impossible to actually fucking read. Because there's so many fucking...
Yeah, I hate legalese.
It's the worst, honestly. Whatever. So they put together this where they clearly outlined all of the whatever you want to call it of it, right? The specifics of it. And I'm gonna, I guess, take all this information that I share with you with a grain of salt, because I guess I don't really have a way to totally fact check everything they said. I'm kind of just going off of like, hoping that most of this is true.
Yeah,
right?
for
I'm
sure.
assuming it is.
Yeah.
Right? But anyways, I want to read this first. We'll kind of talk about the changes that they're making to the dog law, right? And then what we'll do is we'll talk about how I think this is something that is going to impact people, how we think that this is something that we could just be mindful of, right? And just, for us as trainers, obviously be mindful of. I think this is going to impact people in rescue a lot, which will kind of tie some things into that. And then we'll just kind of make an episode out of it. So let's go ahead and start reading this. So,
Sure.
And again, full quote, Pause to Pose Photography. This is their words, not mine.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Okay.
So they wrote, Avery's Law, Ohio House Bill 247, becomes effective March 18th, 2026. This new law brings quite a few changes, so much so the organizations that will be enforcing these laws are still unclear of all implications and possibilities. This means that what happens in following months, 2026, will shape how this law is enforced through common law, which is why it is important that all dog owners, dog service providers be educated on the law and take extra care to protect their dogs and themselves. So here are the changes to the dog law. Thing number one. Dogs can be designated as dangerous without physical contact in some situations. Injury caused in a menacing fashion, example, if a dog chases after someone and the person is injured when attempting to flee, knocked over, things like that. Obviously, those all can take place with this, right? So prior to, in order to be designated as a dangerous dog, a dog had to actually injure somebody. Right. Not just like a sidebar injury where it's like, oh, I fell down because I was running away from a dog or something like that.
Right.
If the dog injured you, they were able to be deemed as a dangerous dog. This now it broadens that scope a little bit more, obviously.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Thing number two, Avery's Law places a heavy emphasis on attacks against other pets. A dog can be deemed dangerous if it kills another dog or seriously injures another dog to the point where a veterinarian determines the injured dog must be euthanized. And then in parentheses, unclear on if this includes owners that decline medical treatment and are then presented euthanasia as an option, right? So again, historically speaking, dangerous dog sightings were mostly surrounding people. Dogs have always, by the state, been viewed just as property. Therefore, if your dog kills another dog, though I don't necessarily agree that they shouldn't be deemed dangerous, right? But like really, like it's no different than your dog destroys your neighbor's fence, right? You got to pay the costs of, handling those situations. Thing number 3, repeated nuisance behavior. A dog doesn't always have to bite to be labeled dangerous. If an owner is cited 3 or more times for nuisance dog violations, repeatedly running at large, and menacing neighbors, et cetera, the dog can be escalated to dangerous status. Now, this is something where if nuisance behavior doesn't have any like clarity to it around what it is, who knows if this could be deemed as like, your dog is constantly reacting at a fence line when people walk by the house or this or that. Is that something they might proactively look at and say, your dog is being menacing here. You're getting constant calls about your dog, and people feeling unsafe walking by your house because of it and stuff like that. That could put you in a position also where,
maybe. Interesting.
If a dog is officially designated as dangerous, it moves from being a regular pet to a high-risk legal entity. So this is why in many cases, like I've had clients before who have been in situations where they're facing some type of like dangerous dog allegation, right, or charge or something like that. And people will put so much money into like lawyer fees to try to fight that, right? And not like take away responsibility from the dog, but to get rid of that dangerous dog deeming, because there are many insurance companies like homeowners insurance and cities and stuff that if they have this label on them, they won't cover you, right? They will make you leave the city, et cetera, right? Like it's a serious deal to have this on you, obviously. Thing number 4, immediate seizure. Dog wardens now have the authority to seize a dog immediately following an attack, right? So this is different, right? Prior to that, obviously your dog would have to go through a quarantine after some type of bite, obviously. But generally speaking, the county is not going to come and just take your dog from you right away. They are now loosening that up where if your dog bites somebody, technically speaking, they have the authority to come in and take that dog right away, right, as they figure out what's going on.
That's crazy.
Number 5, discretionary euthanasia. The court can order it. As a part of a criminal proceeding against an owner, a judge has the authority to order a dog euthanized if it is found to have committed less severe but still dangerous acts. Dangerous dog acts, if the dog injured a person but not seriously or killed another dog. Attempted attacks, if the dog attempted to bite a person and caused an injury during the attempt, like knocking someone over. Injury to other dogs, if the dog has caused serious injury to another dog that already resulted in that second dog being euthanized. Outside of attack-related euthanasia, if a warden seizes a dog that is not wearing a license tag, they must hold it for 3 days. If the owner does not claim the dog and pay the registration and pound fees within the 72-hour window, the warden then has the legal authority to euthanize the dog or put it up for adoption. Even if they have been in contact with the owner who has expressed they want the dog returned, it is up to the warden if an exception will be made. So, one of my biggest things that I talk with people that are in situations where their dog has bitten somebody is they always go, oh my gosh, like, I don't want them to have to like make me put my dog down kind of thing. And historically, what I had always told them, and again, I know there's caveats to this. I know there is court-ordered euthanasia that happens, but it's very infrequent because most of the time what happens is if your dog bites somebody, the determining factor on if your dog gets put down or not usually has to do with how big of a deal the other party is making it. So usually what we'll find is like, the court is not just going to come right in and say, oh my God, your dog bit somebody, they have to be put down. Generally speaking, they're going to handle the situation amongst both parties, barring it's not an extreme example, like your dog like killed somebody or something like that, right? And usually the decision to put the dog down comes from the owner of the dog being put in the situation where they're faced with this choice of either fighting like the charges, right? And going, against the individual and basically saying, hey, no, like we'll try to settle this in an alternative way than putting the dog down. And it hitting a point where either the financial burden of like hiring your attorneys or the person not letting up and settling for anything other than euthanasia, resulting in like you needing to kind of keep going back to court and stuff like that. It usually winds up being a decision that the owner of the dog is making, not somebody else is making.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I always tell everybody, like, generally speaking, like if you're nervous that your dog is going to be forced to be put down, one, again, let's use common sense here and just make sure our dog doesn't fucking bite anybody. But if an accident happens or something, generally you don't have to worry so much about that, as long as you could be prepared to settle in alternative ways. Right. Now, basically what they're changing it to is like, there is that possibility in all of those situations that like, regardless of the severity of it, the court is just going to say, no, you know what? We don't have a tolerance for dog bites right now. So your dog needs to be put down. Right?
Yeah.
And also let me clarify, like I'll at the end, I'll kind of give my opinion on all of this. I don't necessarily think any of this is bad, right? Like I think that, cracking down on, because really who this is going to affect is people that are irresponsibly handling their dogs, right? Not people that have dogs that are bite risk. Most people that have dogs that are bite risk do a very good job of not letting their dog bite people, right? Like it's just, that's generally speaking what happens, right? Like most responsible owners that have dogs that are bite risks just kind of understand the situations to keep their dog out of. Right? And prevent this stuff from happening. It's the scenarios that we even hear from like sometimes clients, sometimes people that want to hire us for services where they tell us like, oh, my dog bit somebody, and we ask for information on how it happened. And like, it is just such a clear, preventable situation. It's really going to impact people like that where like, it's kind of a step up to the plate or you shouldn't own this dog kind of thing. And the court's going to make it so that you shouldn't own this dog as opposed to like, oh, your dog gets a bite and then 2 bites, then 3 bites, then 4 bites. And it's like, oh, sorry, it keeps happening. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of people this shit is going to affect the most.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Number 6, criminal charges. Owners can face criminal penalties ranging from misdemeanors to 3rd-degree felonies if they negligently fail to prevent an unprovoked attack. Because Avery's Law, House Bill 247, targets the harborer and keeper of the dog as much as the owner. Anyone professionally handling the dog may now be legally responsible for the animal's behavior and the owner's compliance. So basically what we're saying here is, like before, really, if your dog bites somebody, like generally speaking, like you can be held responsible from like a financial standpoint for these types of things, but like you're not going to go to jail for murder if your dog kills somebody. You know what I mean? Like historically speaking, that's a really extreme example. But like that wasn't as much of a risk of things. You may have your life ruined and financially crippled because of all of the bills and stuff that you like incur at that point.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, that charge isn't going to be put directly on you at that point. They are really cracking down on trying to find a way to hold you responsible for that. No different than like, I mean, not to get all like fucking political here or anything like that, but there's been a case that I think just got resolved, if I'm not mistaken, of like a kid that shot up a school, right? And they charged the dad with 1st-degree murder, I'm pretty sure, right? Which historically speaking, right, like generally the, parents can be charged for alternative things, but not that direct charge.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this I view as like kind of a similar thing of like, yo, you got to be even more careful because if your dog hurts somebody or kills another dog or something like that, some of those things now are starting to blur the lines of like, you are going to get charged with hurting somebody or killing somebody or hurting another dog or killing another dog, right? Those are very, very serious things that have way more serious of implications than previously they may have had. Right? The other one too here that I think is pretty wild is that they are going to be targeting the harborer of the dog. So meaning the dog goes to a boarding kennel, right? Like technically the responsibility can be placed on those individuals as well. Or like a trainer. Like if I'm out with a dog and that dog is dangerous, right? And that dog bites somebody in my care, like I'm assuming like care and control of the dog, right? Those things can fall back on myself then at that point.
Yep. Dang.
Okay. Number 7, mandatory disclosure rules. The most direct impact on businesses is a new legal requirement for transparency. Owner obligation. Owners are now legally required to disclose if their dog has been designated as dangerous or vicious to anyone providing services. The penalty, failure to disclose this status to a service provider, is a minor misdemeanor. Having these signed questions on your intake form is your best defense against negligence claims. Has a dog ever bitten a person? If yes, please describe the incident. Has the dog ever seriously injured or killed a person? Has the dog ever chased or attempted to attack or bite a person or another dog? Has the dog ever killed another dog or caused an injury to a dog that resulted in its death or euthanasia? So this one I think is a little gray. So they are now legally required to disclose if the dog has been designated as dangerous or vicious, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the legal implications are if they say no to has the dog ever bitten a person, because technically your dog could historically have bitten a person and not have been deemed dangerous then at that point.
Right.
Right? So I guess my question would be that I'm interested in is, does that mean if your dog bites somebody at all moving forward that they are going to start deeming them as dangerous? If so, then technically, yeah, you're going to know because they legally have to tell you if the dog is deemed dangerous in any way, shape, or form. So, which is good because there's a lot of scenarios where we see dog owners not fully disclosing the truth about what their dog may or may not have done to boarding kennels, to daycares, to trainers, rescues doing to other people, that puts people in serious pickles. And I have a couple examples of this that I'll share at the end, obviously.
Yeah.
That is a lot of the reason why I think stuff like this is becoming a bigger and bigger deal. Okay, number 8, the keeper and harborer liability trap. In Ohio law, a keeper or harborer, someone who has temporary control or possession of a dog, is held to the same strict liability standards as the owner. Vicarious responsibility. If you're boarding a dangerous dog and it escapes your facility, you, the business, can now face the enhanced criminal penalties established by Avery's law. Insurance mandates. While the law requires owners to carry $100,000 in liability insurance, pet businesses should update their policies to ensure they are covered for handling dogs with these specific legal designations. Transfer rules. If a shelter or rescue sells or transfers a dog, they must provide a written form to the new owner detailing the dog's behavior and known propensities. Even if your dog is not designated as dangerous or vicious, Ohio law will strictly require them to wear a license tag at all times. Strict liability. Under Avery's law, certain violations are now strict liability offenses. This means if the dog bites someone while in your care, I didn't know he would do that is no longer a valid legal defense to avoid citations. Mandatory reporting. Veterinarians and healthcare providers are now legally required to report dog bites to the local health commissioner within 24 hours. This will likely lead to more dangerous dog designations being triggered during routine vet visits or post-incident care. There are still many unanswered questions and uncertainty as to how this law will affect dog owners and dog businesses. While on its face, this law aims to protect the public from dangerous dogs and negligent owners, it also raises the risk for responsible pet owners who could be caught in the crosshairs. So, there's just I think the point of all of this is they are really, really fucking cracking down on shit. Right?
Really?
And all of this was triggered from Avery was a little girl that got attacked by 2 pit bulls that at a friend's house that she was visiting, right?
Oh, really?
And disfigured from it, completely completely fucked her up, right? Ruined her life kind of thing.
Okay.
And this was basically sparked by that.
Yeah.
Right, is why they started creating this. And again, I completely get it. I completely get it. So let's get into the rest of this here. There's just a little bit left. So this is where you get into the risk, right? So what's the risk of all of these changes? So under the previous law, a dog usually had to have a documented history or propensity for violence before the most extreme penalties kicked in, right? Meaning if you had a one-off accident situation, barring it being an extreme attack or something,
right?
Generally speaking, there would be repercussions for it but we're not talking like criminal repercussions. We're not talking dogs
Yeah.
being seized and like mandated euthanasia. You know, usually there was kind of a little bit of a freebie system for it because they're
Sure.
dogs. Dogs will be dogs to some extent.
Yeah.
And though we want to keep the general public safe, we are empathetic to we've brought dogs into our world, right? And they're dogs, right? Avery's Law removes the free bite or history requirement. If a dog causes serious injury to a person even once, the court is mandated to order the dog to be humanely destroyed. There's very little judicial discretion left for freak accidents or cases where a normally gentle dog was under extreme stress. Now, if what they're saying this is true, and they say Avery's Law removes the free bite or history requirement if a dog causes, quote unquote, serious injury to a person even once, the court is mandated to order the dog to be humanely destroyed. I don't know if that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between a dog nipped somebody and maybe you got a little puncture wound on you,
Yeah.
right? Or you did something stupid and ran up to them and you got tagged, you know, on the nose or something like that, versus a dog truly having intent to do harm on you.
Right.
And if that happens to somebody even once, now the line is really gray. I get it.
Yeah.
Where, at what point do we determine serious injury happened?
True.
You know what I mean? Is it like medical attention was required, or is it like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how, and I think that's kind of the problem with this.
Exactly.
Is like to me, sure, if to my subjective opinion, right, a dog did serious injury to just some innocent fucking bystander, and we're going to say that, like, per my subjective opinion, whatever I determine serious injury is, that dog should just be put down at that point.
Yeah. It's just it's so subjective.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like back and forth. Like, I kind of agree with that. I kind of think, like, man, that could weed out some, like, dangerous dogs and like put people in more safe positions.
True.
I think the problem is, right, the circumstances are irrelevant. So like, does that include somebody fucking broke into your house and your dog mauled them? You know what I mean? Like, to which that's even one right there. Like, we can kind of go back and forth on where I always say, like, well, somebody broke into your fucking house. Like, you know, like in the middle of the night, your dog freaked out and like totally went on the attack. But at the same time, this is the justification I use when I work with clients, when forget legal stuff. But like I always tell them, I was like, you know, if somebody just walked into your door and your dog mauled them, like we're talking like literally like killed them, like is that a warranted response from the dog then at that point? I don't really think so. You know what I mean? Like, we should be training in a way where we're definitely decreasing the probability of that happening. And if it happens even once, regardless of the fact that the person should or shouldn't have broken into your house, like damn, like that's really fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your dog just mauled somebody to death. That's crazy.
So, God, like this kind of stuff, and I get why this person is writing this, because there is a lot of gray to this, right? Like, I think from the face value, that statement, right, removes the free bite or history requirement if a dog seriously causes serious injury to a person even once the court is mandated to order the dog be humanely destroyed. On face value, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But in practice, this is where it says there is very little judicial discretion left for freak accidents or cases where a normally gentle dog was under extreme stress. I think the problem is that, and the other problem is what defines serious injury.
Yeah.
What defines serious injury?
It could, I mean, like you said, anybody could have a different opinion on what serious injury is.
Yeah. If your dog gets loose due to negligent failure, like a gate left unlatched by a delivery driver and it causes an injury, you can now face felony charges and significant jail time. Responsible owners worry that negligence can be interpreted broadly, turning a tragic accident into a criminal record. Again, another one at face value. I'm like, shit, makes sense. Dude, I've had some clients before that have had just repeated scenarios where their dogs broke out of their back fence and like attacked another dog walking by or something like that. Mm-hmm. And like, you do hit a point after the first time that it happens where you're like, yo, like, I don't know what you need to do to make sure that doesn't happen again, but like, it just can't happen again. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, that is a responsibility on you. And if the result of you forgetting to leave your gate open or to have your gate closed is your dog attacking a person or another dog, and you've proven it's a repeated offense, like fuck, like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like I can kind of get behind that as well. Like
It's just very broad how they're.
yeah, like most of these things I can get behind. Us as trainers, this is an important thing, right? So obviously, like I want to help. Like there are so many responsible people, right? Like the vast majority of our clientele is like responsible owners that have a really fucking difficult dog, and that dog has a propensity for being aggressive, right? And these people want to learn, what can I do to make sure my dog doesn't hurt anybody? Like, and I don't think those people should be necessarily punished for, you know, for own, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that we should just tell those people, well, because your dog has that propensity for aggression, regardless of if you could make sure it happens, it never happens, that it's. Hold on, I'm trying to like gather my thoughts. Okay. So there's responsible owners that have dangerous dog that hires us to like make sure that a situation never happens again, right? They like this dog. They don't want the dog to seriously hurt anybody, obviously. And they can or cannot, whatever. They can make sure that they put in place training, they put in place management, they put in place all these protocols to like, with 99.9% certainty, ensure that their dog will never hurt somebody, right? I don't necessarily think those people, because that dog has that propensity, should just have to put their dog down. I don't necessarily think that, right? Obviously, no. I definitely don't think that because we train people like that all the time. Right? It's not like every time somebody calls me and says, I have a dangerous dog, I'm like, put it down, right?
Right.
Like, I do think there are just like the vast majority of people are responsible and can just, they don't want people to get hurt. They don't want dogs to get hurt, and they can do things to make sure that that doesn't happen, right? But from the flip side, I could understand to some extent, I could understand the, like, if there's a 1 to 5% chance that if you run into the wrong circumstance of situations that your dog could seriously hurt somebody, that it's like, are we going to be accepting of that risk? I could understand that as well. I guess then the problem is we accept so many risks everywhere else in our life. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I guess I don't know. I'm trying to process this.
Right.
Where I'm like there are so many other things we let people do that could pose risks to other people.
Yeah. Driving.
Right? Driving, right? Like any other situation, right? Like, like that is the potential to be dangerous. Like, I don't know where the line is. I don't know. I'm curious for the fucking followers to give me their opinion on where the line is, because I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I just hate, like, I mean, anytime these kind of laws, like with like a living thing come in, I mean, it becomes so subjective.
Yeah.
You know, like do you have to caveat, like, when people come in, like, hey, we gotta get this under control, or like these new laws, like, you know, and like the thing that you said, like the justification of like what is considered like a dangerous bite to be this needs to be euthanized. Like I think you and I probably have a pretty similar like idea of what that is, but like a judge or might just be like, oh, well, there was broken skin, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the hard part is like I mean, obviously we're just going by this person's interpretation. It might be a little more clear in the legalese, in the actual bill, but I feel like it's probably very scarce, and it's going to be just by like judge by judge case of what happens.
I really think the way people need to be taking this, like if you're in Ohio or in general, right? I think the way people need to be taking this is just, you have to be, whatever you've been doing to keep yourself, your dog, and the general public safe, you need to just do 10 times more of whatever you're currently doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think if you try to get into the weeds too much with it, it's like you'll drive yourself fucking crazy. But like, you need to just maybe be really honest with yourself of like, do I actually feel confident that I can prevent my dog from hurting somebody? Right. And if you are not like 99.9% confident that you can, maybe you start having that real conversation with yourself of like, should I own this dog then at that point?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's really where I kind of would go with this.
Yeah.
All right, let me read these last two sections here.
Yeah.
So many standard homeowners insurance policies explicitly exclude certain breeds or dogs with a dangerous history. A responsible owner who wants to follow the law may find themselves unable to find an affordable policy or could even face a non-renewal of their entire home insurance, effectively making it impossible to keep their pet legally. This bypasses the period where an owner could previously keep the dog at home during an investigation. For a responsible owner, this means their pet is held in a high-stress shelter environment for weeks or months while the legal process plays out, even if the owner is ultimately found not at fault. Yes, you will be billed for the boarding and required to pay before receiving the dog. So yeah, I think that's really it. Is like feeling super confident that and this is a conversation I tend to have with clients, right? So when clients call me that have dangerous dogs, right? Yeah. Dogs with bites, right? Usually what I look for first and foremost is how much of a pattern is the behavior, right? What is the owner doing that is just that is not negligence, but just like a knowledge related issue, you know what I mean? Of like why this behavior is happening in the first place. And after they had an incident, assuming there's not like a knowledge issue, right? And there's no negligence there, that they've effectively prevented the dog from running into that situation again. Right. So let me give you some examples. So example one is, okay, like owner got a new dog and whatever. The dog was just being a normal, weird, quirky dog. And then one day, the dog never bit anybody before, but like something happened in their house when they had guests come over and the dog like bit the other person, right? Regardless of severity, right? And the owner said, holy shit, like that's new. Now I need to just isolate my dog from people. And though the dog is still aggressive and dangerous and showing behavioral issues, they successfully avoided any scenarios where the dog would hurt anybody ever again. Like that's a responsible owner that recognized a problem, that is doing everything that they can to make sure they keep that dog safe. I do think that they deserve a shot at learning tools and management and training to improve the dog's threshold, improve their management skills, and hopefully prevent the dog from rehearsing that again without living like a terrible life, right?
Right.
Whatever. I think that's pretty deserving.
Yeah.
Option two is, okay, that situation plays out and they're like, oh my gosh, my dog's aggressive. You know, maybe I need to socialize them more. And they actively like try, they think they're putting in place management. They think they're putting in place safety protocols, but they unintentionally put the dog in another vulnerable position where the dog bites somebody because they're trying to, so they're like, oh, I need to socialize my dog. I'm going to try to socialize my dog more, which is like logical human thinking. And, you know, they just do it poorly. Right. Again, that is where you get into, they recognize there was a problem. They were trying to be responsible and solve the problem, but they had a knowledge issue that caused them to do it improperly where it was still not safe. So let's say initial incident happens, second incident happens, but it's a knowledge issue. And then they recognize, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So like now they're going to go to basically avoidance management. They prevent an issue from happening. They reach out to a trainer. They want to solve the issue. I also think in those circumstances, right, those people probably deserve a fair shot at trying to work through those issues. Again, barring an extreme situation where the dog like takes somebody's fucking hand off, right, or something like that. I think you start getting into repeated incidents of negligence. Like, again, the example of like, we left the gate open too many times, right? Or whatever, you know, like we just keep just not like the dog bit somebody and we're like, whatever. It was the other person's fault. And the dog bites somebody else, whatever. It was the person's fault. And then something, you know what I mean? I think those situations, those are the scenarios where I look at and I have the conversation with people. I was like, you've let this happen a lot of times. Like, can you make sure that doesn't happen again? Right. And are you willing to make the adjustments in your day-to-day to make sure that doesn't happen again? Are you willing to use safety protocols to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen again? Yes, I do think that in those circumstances, I think that if we're going to enact some type of law like this and just say, hey, like, you know, happen once, happen twice, happen three times, like 3 strikes, you're out kind of thing. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like I could back that type of logic with it. You know, so those, this is where I say, I think there's a lot of grayness to this. And I think if they're taking away the grayness and just saying bite happened or 2 bites happened or whatever, regardless of why, regardless of how responsible the owner is, regardless of if they could prevent it from happening again. As soon as they recognize that there's a problem, that the dog gets put down or they can't have the dog, that's where you start getting into the grayness of this. So this is something we got to see. I mean, this isn't even, I mean, this takes effect in like, 12 days?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see, because I work with dangerous dogs, I'm curious to see how this is going to impact our clients, because we have clients that have dogs that are dangerous. So I'm going to get firsthand feedback if I start noticing that people are put in tough legal situations, So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I hope it's a little more clear when it is passed out, and then they
Bro, we didn't turn this on either. What are we doing?
I don't know.
What are we doing? I'm listening.
Oh, you're good. But I think it would be fair. Like the most fair approach to this would be like a one strike. That's your final warning type of thing. So people could still have that chance. Like, unless it was like incredibly,
I was gonna say
harmful.
Yeah.
Like if there was obviously like serious bodily harm or intent behind the dog, whatever. But otherwise, I like some people, like you said, have this really great dog, and then this one thing finally happened.
Yeah.
And then they are immediately like upset about it and want to like fix the problem.
Yeah.
Like I feel like those people shouldn't be punished so harshly if they know there was a problem and they're willing to fix it with their dog.
So here's what I'm curious about is okay. So I wanted to know, did the dogs that attacked Avery have a previous record of issues? So So this is the problem, right? So like it says, yes, the pit bulls that attacked Avery Russell in June of 2024 in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, had a known history of prior aggression. Evidence presented in court indicated that the dogs had previously bitten other children, including children of a relative of the dog owner, less than a year before the attack. Here are the details regarding the dog's previous record. Previous bites, the two pit bulls involved in the attack, named Apollo and Layla, were known to be dangerous, with court records showing they had bitten other children prior to the June 11, 2024 incident. Prior knowledge, according to the police report, both the dog owner, Stephanie Ayers, and her cousin, Jessica Henry, were aware that the dogs had previously bitten children, yet the dogs remained in the home where the play date took place. Neighbor concerns. Neighbors had repeatedly considered the dogs to be aggressive and menacing prior to the attack and owner's actions. Despite evidence of prior biting incidents, the owner denied prior knowledge of the dog's aggressive behavior in court, calling the incident a freak accident. The owner was found guilty of failing to confine and failure to register a dog. The severity of this attack, coupled with the dog's history, led to the introduction of Avery's Law in Ohio, which strengthens laws regarding dangerous dogs. Okay, so this is kind of where I'm getting like fucking, especially with kids. I always say with kids, it's like such a different conversation. Like, your dog's biting kids and you're just keeping them out with fucking kids having play dates. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah,
that's negligence.
Yeah, there's a lot of negligence here.
And on top of that, you can see the owner was found guilty of failing to confine and failure to register the dog, right? I don't know if they were found guilty of anything else. It sounds like that may have been it. But yes, I do think that's pretty fucked that this girl, Avery, has her life completely altered due to a serious dog attack.
For sure.
And the owner whose negligence caused the problem to happen, the only fines that they hit was fucking failure to confine and failure to register a dog. Like I'm actually curious now. So let's see. So, Stephanie Ayers, the owners of the dogs that brutally attacked 11-year-old Avery Russell in Ohio, was sentenced to 4 days in jail, 3 years of community control, and a $450 fine for failing to confine her dogs.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Bro.
Nothing.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
4 days?
Yeah.
So this is where now the flip side, like I could fully back why they are choosing to do this.
Yeah.
For people like this, bro, you have dangerous dogs, you're being negligent to it, and you're also like put in a position where it's like dude, I'm totally brain farting today. Okay, so you got basically a slap on the wrist
Yeah.
when due to your negligence, somebody else's life was ruined, right? This is where I think what they're trying to do is shift responsibility off of the animals and put the responsibility on the people, which is the biggest thing we coach our clients through is like, no matter what, it's not your dog's fault that these incidents happened, right? Yes, I am empathetic to some dogs are way more difficult than others. And, you know, before you know anything about your dog, if these incidents happen, the very first time they happen, I could understand how you'd be caught off guard, and I don't put all of the responsibility on you for that. I think you deserve a second shot with it, right?
Right.
But once you know there's problems, it's up to you to keep everybody safe.
Right.
And if you can't do that, you deserve way more of a fine than this. This is the other thing. This is actually pretty crazy too. Ayers was ordered to rehome 3 of her dogs, but was allowed to keep 1. None of the dogs were even required to be put down at that point. So yes, if your dog mauls a little girl, I think they should be put down.
Yeah.
I mean, just come on. Like,
Yeah. Sorry.
Like that's like I could fully back that as well.
Yeah.
So this is where like me, like emotional, right? Reading this, I'm like, yo, that's so fucked, right? This specific situation, right? Yeah. I do think the court should have the power to say, no, it's you fucking Stephanie Ayers' fault that this happened, and you should face some pretty serious penalties for this. Right? And those 2 dogs, regardless of why they mauled a little girl, they should fucking be put down for that. Right? Like, boom. I think, though, what they say, like, the pendulum swings the other way. Maybe this, unfortunately, will put us all in a position, though, where the tolerance for stuff like this is so low that it causes the courts to be way too overly strict on certain incidents that may happen. I think
so, yeah.
Right? So I guess that's, like, kind of my wrap up of this is like totally fucking get it, totally back that this is fucked. These you know, whatever, these the slap on the hand here. But I do think that this could put everybody in a little bit more of a rough position. That's crazy, dude. Like 4 days.
Right.
4 days.
Yeah.
And I guess like what would she get charged? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I actually don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. Do you, because like now, you know, like the, like someone like you or a doggy daycare, like you now assume that risk, correct?
What do you mean?
Like as whatever this dog does while it's in your care, like you could face those repercussions, right? Like
yes.
So
yeah. If I have control over the dog and the dog fucking attacks somebody, like, technically, per if what this is saying is totally accurate, like that would be my responsibility. Like I had the care and control of the dog, I let it happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So does that worry you at all? Or I mean, especially because you guys work with dangerous dogs. I don't even want to
fucking say it. You know what I mean? Like we just don't. I mean, like we really care about safety of things.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess not you specifically. I'm just saying more of like these other people that usually get these behavior. I mean, or dog trainers that don't get behavioral cases in that much, like, and they don't know how to handle that. Like, I kind of worry about them because, you know, it's something they don't work with all the time. And what if they screw up and now their business is going to be
yeah, but
hurting.
It's still like in order for that to happen, the trainer would have to be taking these dogs in public and putting them in situations where the dogs are going to fucking seriously hurt somebody.
For sure.
So like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
it just kind of comes with the territory.
That gets back to like negligence, you know, of like, why are you putting them in that situation? I just, you know what I mean?
True.
Like,
I get you.
I guess my big thing, and it didn't really say this. What I'm curious to see and to find out is like, what type of protection do I need to put on myself if we are educating people on how to keep their dogs safe out in public, right? And somebody screws up and does something different than what you told them to do, but still they claim, well, you know, you trained my dog and did behavioral rehabilitation for my dog. And does that responsibility then fall back on the trainer then? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you didn't educate me well enough to ensure this incident didn't happen or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't actually know that. That's something that is going to be important for people like myself to kind of look into and figure out.
Yeah, you might have to actually just get that thing and read it through.
Yeah.
Terrible as that is.
I don't know. I feel like something like that, I would just reach out to like an attorney about.
Oh, yeah.
And just get clarification on like,
hey, can you read this for me and let me know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate legalese. Like, you can misinterpret shit so easily in those.
Yeah. So okay. So this is where then, like rescues, I think really need to be fucking careful with shit like this.
Yeah.
So there's too much of a problem right now in the rescue world of rescues just like brushing over issues with dogs and homing them out to like unsuspecting owners and there being problems from it. Okay, so there's a rescue. I am not going to name. I'm not here to fucking call people out, right? There's a rescue that I know pretty well, right? And this rescue now, there's two like situations that I've seen with them of like homing out like dangerous dogs, right? And I guess I'll give specifics on it without naming the people. So we used to work pretty frequently with a particular rescue in Cleveland. They used to be one of my favorite rescues in the area, whatever, as the years went on, they lost a lot of their volunteers. They were having like issues internally and stuff. And we tried to work with them a couple more times again, over the last 3 years or something. We ran into a situation. We had a dog come in that they wanted to get trained. We're pretty strict on if your dog is dangerous, you can't rehome it out, right? So this dog came in, same deal, right? Had some issues. We knew it had some issues. And the dog came in and we were like, you know what? Like, I don't know. We were really on the fence with this one of like, I don't know if you should home this dog out or not. And they were like, we really want to try. We've got this list of a couple people that are interested in him. So they wound up homing the dog out to somebody. The dog had some resource guarding issues. The dog bit the first person that they homed the dog out to. Nothing serious, right? But still, bit the person that they homed him out to. People returned them. We told them, like, listen, we really think you guys should not rehome this dog out. It's just like you tried it. It didn't work, right? Like, we really just don't think that you should do it, right? They were like, oh, but like the other person that really really wanted the dog that we didn't pick initially, they're just really, really interested in the dog. And we really, really just want to give it one more go, this, that, I was like, all right, well, you have to be super upfront with these people about the issues, that the dog had bit somebody, this and that. We will, right? Home the dog out to this family. And the dog didn't wind up biting them, but the dog was showing signs that it probably would have. Gotcha. Right? It just wasn't, wasn't going to work out kind of thing, right? So they returned the dog. This family returned the dog, right? And also, like, alluded to at one point that they didn't know that the dog had bit somebody before, which now, looking back on it, at the time I was like, they said they told you. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Now I'm like, they probably didn't fucking tell him, now that I have further information. So the dog went back, and I told him, I was like, listen, you cannot home this dog out again. You just can't. You need to put the dog down, right? Like, the dog has now bitten a person and, has shown problems at another home. You tried. I was like, I get you guys made a financial investment into this dog. I even told him, I was like, listen, you need to put this dog down. I was like, I will take 100% of the money that you paid us to train this dog, and I will train another dog for free of fucking charge, right? Yeah. So you don't lose your investment into it. You can put those resources into another dog, right? Yeah. I was like, you guys need to put this dog down. They were like, oh, okay, we'll think about it, right? So at the time, the dog was like boarding with us, mind you, for fucking free, because they didn't have anywhere to put the dog. We're like, you just bring the dog to the shop, right? They're like, all right, we're going to pick the dog up, and then we'll let you know what we decide to do, right? They picked the dog up. We never heard from them again after it. And then we found out like a month later, there was another local dog trainer in the Cleveland area that posted this fucking long ass post about this dog that the rescue had hired this other trainer to work with the dog. This dog trainer made this enormous post, basically like it was the most cringy post I ever fucking read in my life. Sure. They made this entire post about how this dog is just so misunderstood, and it was like it was written from the dog's point of view of like, nobody gets me, and everybody keeps putting me in really bad situations where like I have to defend myself and like blah blah blah, and like You know, like basically like didn't take any of our advice. We professionals are telling you this dog is unsafe to be rehomed, right? And you said, fuck you, we're going to try another trainer now, right? And this trainer obviously took the bait and was like, oh, yeah, we'll fucking help you with it. Never, I went on this rescues page a ton of times after. There was never a, oh, wow, this dog got rehomed out and everything went well and stuff, probably because they determined something else happened and they had to actually put the dog down.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so that happened. That for me, you know, I have no tolerance for that stuff in the rescue world, right? So like, I'm not working, I'm done with you guys, right? I'm not working with you guys anymore.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I'm not naming the rescue right now is because there are still some good people that care over at that rescue, and I don't want all of them to catch flack, right?
Yeah.
But like the people that made or didn't make these decisions, like you guys need to you need to get it together. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I got a phone call then, like this was maybe 2 years ago, something like that, right? I got a phone call from somebody the other day saying, not interested in training, just looking for help, potentially rehoming a dog, right? And generally, I would never take it. I just wouldn't take a call like that. But I was like, whatever. I'll give him a call, see what's up, right?
Yeah.
So it was this lady, super fucking nice lady. She just adopted this dog. In the intake paperwork, she specified so fucking clearly, I am not interested in a project dog. I have zero tolerance for any aggressive behavior. You know, like I'm looking for a good dog. That's it. I'm not looking for a project, right? Which I think is a very fucking reasonable thing to say, right? So they get this dog home to them, and within like a day, the dog's fucking growling at all the people in the house, fucking snapping at people. You know what I mean? Like it's like the dog wound up biting a family member in the house, not seriously, but still fucking bit him, right? Like there was an injury.
Yeah.
Right. And they were like, what the fuck? Like, literally, we were so black and white that we did not want something like this. And this is what we got. Like, so basically they were like, what? Like they reached out to the rescue, right? Per what this individual told me. They said, hey, this happened. This is not what we wanted, right? Like what did you didn't know about it or like what? But like, we don't want this dog, right? Yeah. And the rescue, she said, like, just was so fucking condescending and saying that, like, this was your fault that this stuff happened. And now we're put in this position where we don't know what we're going to do with this dog and, like, blah, blah, blah. And, like, totally fucking, like, made them feel like absolute pieces of shit over the situation. Right. And so, and made them feel bad. They were like, oh, well, this dog's going to, and also put on it, like, oh, well, if you return the dog to us, we might have to put the dog down and stuff. Like, just like doing all this like really scummy shit to like try to like shame, excuse me, try to shame these people into like keeping the dog basically. So she was like, oh, I don't want the dog to get put down, but like, I don't want the dog. So that's why she reached out to me, because she was like, do you know anybody that like, you know, can help, like, and maybe help, I don't know, train and home the dog out or something like that, which I think also is a pretty reasonable thing for them to think, like, wow, we don't want the dog to put down, you know, we don't want the dog, whatever.
Right.
So I told them, I shared my, because I was like, was this rescue? And they were like, yeah, it was. I was like, so I shared with them my experience, because like, I'm not going to like let you be in this situation where you're just like feeling like, you know, this is all your fault and like, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, this has been a pattern that we've seen now. Right. Clearly a second time. And that's their problem, not your problem. You told them what you wanted. They delivered something that is not what you wanted. Exactly. And it's their responsibility to figure out what happens with the dog. She was like, it was great, honestly. She was like, thank you so much for talking to them. It makes me feel so much better. She wound up reaching out to them. They wound up getting the dog back. And ironically, I got a text message couple days later from a girl that works at another local dog training company saying that was a family friend of hers that I had spoken with. And she was just like super grateful that I talked to them. And then she also shared with me the rescue that is now trying to rehome that dog out again. Right. And they made another of like the cringiest posts ever. I want to fucking read it. And then you guys could use like deductive reasoning and figure out who I'm talking about here.
Deductive reasoning.
Hold on.
Yep.
Yeah, here it is. Okay. All right, here we go. So, need a foster or adopter, and then urgent. It's me again, Rocket. And I promise I'm not trying to make this awkward. I just thought I was home. I made the long trip all the way from Houston to Ohio. I packed up my toys, my tennis ball skills, my fly hunting talents, still unsuccessful, and my whole heart. I thought this was it, forever. But within 24 hours, not even, we got the call. I was too big with like a like skeptical face. And for the record, I'm still smaller than a Rottweiler. Just saying. The truth is, I wasn't given time. Dogs like me need decompression. We need a minute to learn new smells, new routines, new expectations. That's being a dog trying to figure out if this place is safe, if this time it's real. I didn't even get a chance to show them who I was. And that part hurts because I'm not a bad dog. I'm not difficult, and I am not too much. I am phenomenal. I'm an almost 2-year-old with a heart that somehow keeps bouncing back when it shouldn't. I'm potty trained, kennel trained. I know focus, sit, down, stay, and I take my training very seriously. Unless there's a fly in the room. Then I must defend the household. I will fail repeatedly, and yes, it's humiliating. I love fetch. I love toys. I love treats. I love smells and new places. I love other dogs, but more than anything, I love my people. I love closeness. I love sleeping near your bed so I could hear you, just to make sure you're still there. Because if I'm honest, being given up this many times make you a little scared to sleep alone. My last family gave up because of housing issues. Maybe I just have bad luck. My Houston foster family is heartbroken. They loved me. They had multiple calls before I left because everybody wanted this to work. No one wanted me to be failed again, but here I am again. I need a home with a fenced yard where I could run. I need stimulation. I need an active family who wants a loyal sidekick to burn energy with and then crash hard on the couch. I need structure. I need decompression. I need someone who understands that dogs don't show their best selves in the first 24 hours. Mostly, I need someone who doesn't give up. I have been failed too many times, and none of it is my fault. I don't need to be a Rottweiler to deserve saving. I don't need to be tiny to deserve patience. And I don't need to be perfect on day one to deserve forever. I just need a hero. We are urgently looking for a foster or adopter for me. Someone who understands that the best dogs sometimes come with a little history and a whole lot of heart. I'm Rocket, and I'm still ready to go home. Please let this be the last time I have to ask. Bro, I want to throw up in my mouth reading that.
Yeah, that's dumb. Jesus.
That's fucked, dude. That's fucked to write a post like that.
Oh, yeah.
100% blaming the fucking people.
Straight.
Dude, get fucked. And you also aren't going to say that the dog bit somebody in it?
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Oh, yeah. And in the 24 hours, I bit somebody.
Dude. Unfucking believable.
Rocket.
What a cringe post.
Yeah, that's pretty cringy.
But the post, actually, I bet you it was the fucking same person. The trainer reposted or posted or whatever was written exactly like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like totally blaming everybody else, right? And like taking zero responsibility for the fucking behavior. Like so fucking insane, dude.
That's ridiculous.
But anyways, tying this back into what we were just talking about, like shit like that is going to come back on people like that. You're not disclosing a past history of behavior.
Yeah.
You're not being honest about what happened. And if that dog gets homed out and fucking hurts somebody, like,
yeah,
that could fucking fall back on you.
That should fall back on them.
God, it wasn't it fucking real Rottweiler rescue. I'll fucking name them. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably deduct it based on the fact that they said Rottweiler like 3 times a day. It's really unfortunate because they used to be like the best. I used to we worked with so many other dogs, dude. Yeah. They used to be great. I got a fucking real Rottweiler t-shirt and everything I used to wear all the time.
Yeah.
They used to be so great. And then they just had an exodus. Like everybody that was volunteers that were all like clients of mine and stuff left because the board was making shitty decisions is what it was. And this is what you're left with now is they're just they're lying about stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't care. Like, again, when we tell you, we've done everything to help you home this fucking dog out, and we're saying it's dangerous and not safe to keep homing the dog out, and you say, well, fuck you, we're going to try anyways. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got time for some repercussions.
Crazy, though. That situation is insane. And it's like, I don't, like whatever. I'm taking the lady's word for it, but here's the thing, right? the family friend that reached out to me is like a very reputable source, right? They know they reach out to me to say like, yo, this person isn't fucking lying about anything. Thank you so much for talking to them, kind of thing.
Right.
Right. Like, and with past history of this behavior, like what? It's the exact situation that happened with us with the dog. So why would I think anything other than you're doing the same fucking thing again?
Right. Exactly.
Man. So that's what I got for you guys today. Yeah. So listen, I mean,
a heavy one.
If you guys have dangerous dogs, just don't be fucking idiots. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Don't be idiots. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to have to like interpret this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
Be careful, right? Don't get too fucking comfortable with your dog. Use safety protocol. Like just don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
And if you could do that, you'll be just fine. And then be honest with yourself. Like I said, can you or can you not keep your dog and the general public safe?
Right.
And if you feel like even pre-training that you can't do it, right? Because if you can't do it pre-training, you can't do it post-training, right?
True.
If you feel like you can't keep them safe then it's probably not the right dog to have out and about in public.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I think overall, my thoughts on this are it is more positive of a direction than a negative. Yeah. I could see where people are going to have problems with it, but I also think it's probably just going by, what this law, why it was passed anyway. Like those kind of situations can't be happening. Yeah. And if we can avoid that and have to be a little stricter on ourselves, I think that is a good trade-off.
Yeah, I think I agree. All right. That's what I got for you guys.
Yep.
See ya.
See ya.